rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Okay, so if anybody goes or tries to go to the store, apparently 3 Chevy over on Rumble is letting me know that there is an issue with that website. So don't go to the store at, my store, store.americanperspective.online. Don't go there yet. Because apparently when you go to check out, it goes to just a blank white page. Anyway, just add that to the list of technological wonders. Today has just been one thing after another. Knock on wood. The stream stays up continually for the entire time, I'm hoping. Just one thing after another. Anyway, it looks like Rumble also has helped out with a new emoji. They've got a dancing Santa that apparently is throwing his booty out towards you in the emoji thing. That's cool. Anyway, all right, folks, let's go ahead and get things started off here, kicked off. Tonight we have Amy from Rumble, who is going to be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are of mine, please stand, remove your hats if you're wearing them, and otherwise place your hand over your heart and join in with Amy as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and thank you, Amy, for that wonderful rendition of the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would like to hear your version of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself doing the pledge in your style, and then take that either audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, attach it to a email and then send that off to fans, F-A-N-S, at americanperspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at americanperspective.online. And tonight's headliner promotion is for theflagshirt.com. I've got one of their wonderful shirts on right now. I usually do. I've got quite a few. Just so you know, right now they have a Cyber Tuesday deal. Man, they're doing a lot of deals, but they've got a Cyber Tuesday deal. This one is specific to anything that is made in the USA. They have 10% off all of their made in the USA gear. And how you get that 10% off is you enter in promo code USA10. That's USA10 at checkout in the promo code box in order to get that 10% off on that made in the USA gear. Now, what's cool about it is they actually have a link up in the top menu where it says made in the USA. So you click on that, and that's where all their made in the USA stuff is at. You don't have to go searching for it. Go and check it out at theflagshirt.com. And don't forget, at checkout, use code USA10, that's USA10, in order to get 10% off all of the made in the USA gear. Shop today at theflagshirt.com and get yourself patriotized. I went to go shut off my little banner thing that I usually use, but it wasn't there. Okay, so we've got some more fallout from this entire setup of, Joe Biden pardoning Hunter. Now, Joe Biden pardoned Hunter, and then, of course, he boarded a plane almost immediately and flew off to Africa. And, of course, while he was there in Africa, he went ahead and, promised $1 billion in aid for them. Forget the Americans who went through the hurricanes. I mean, those guys are still, and I've actually got a footage of one of the FEMA folks or one of the volunteer folks saying, I don't like your signs, but I'll get to that in just a few minutes toward the end of the show. But anyway, yeah, he apparently just like took off and didn't answer questions, didn't say anything. He just like, ooh, I'm out of here. Yeah, he's acting like he just has no clue. Well, the whole thing with, well, not assuming that he ever had a clue in the first place, but he definitely is checked out for the rest of his term. He's a lame duck, first term president who literally is screwing things up as he goes. Did anybody know or notice that Joe Biden, when he pardoned, and this is one of the problems that everybody's been having in terms of the pardoning, is the fact that he pardoned Hunter for like an 11-year span, 10 or 11-year span of time for anything that happened in that 10 or 11 years. I mean, he just basically was like, yeah, I can't remember what you're being charged with, so I'm just going to go ahead and blanket everything. Well, the last time that a blanket pardon that large has ever been done before was back when Gerald Ford pardoned Richard Nixon. And before that, I don't even think it was done before. So, I mean, the only reason, and again, I talked about this last night, so I don't want to harp on this too long, but the only reason to do something like that, to do that kind of a blanket, just, I'm going to cover everything, you know, kind of pardon, all right, is to basically say that, yeah, I wanted to cover anything and everything that you guys can come after me for, or potentially even Barack Obama. Because don't forget, while Joe Biden was doing all of his things starting in 2014, okay, you know, while Joe Biden was doing all of his stuff after 2014 as the VP, who was president? Well, it was good old Barack Obama. Barack Hussein Obama. And anyway, so sorry, I've got a little kitty who's like trying to figure out what she wants to do here. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, now all of a sudden, like the left has gone berserk, the right's gone berserk, and the right's gone berserk for the one reason and one reason only, which is essentially, hey, dude, you pardoned yourself basically by pardoning Hunter for that entire period. So everything that, you know, that the Republicans were going after him in the House committees and stuff, everything is, it's like they can't go after Hunter anymore. And so Hunter essentially would have to testify in some type of court of law or whatever to get his father. Now, we all know that that's probably not going to happen now that he's been given this pardon. Although I'll bet you that was part of the conversation, was like Hunter saying, look, a-hole, if you don't pardon me, I'm going to come clean and tell everybody about what you did with the idea of Burisma and Russia and China and CEFC and all the things that they've been going after and they've been able to trace through my laptop all the way down. I'm pretty certain that was probably part of the conversation. Like, if I'm going down, dude, you're coming with me. Just such a stellar first family that we have, isn't it? Anyway, so that being said, the leftists, of course, are looking at this and going, well, shoot, if Joe can pardon Hunter for crimes known and unknown, which is essentially what he did, then why can't Joe Biden also pardon other people? Well, here's a suggestion by a couple of people. In this particular case, this is MSNBC in the National Pulse. MSNBC says Joe Biden should pardon himself and Jack Smith next. I mean, okay, there's got to be some sort of a limitation on this. I mean, seriously. Well, let's take a look really quick here, because as always, we try to make sure that we go to source documents in order to verify information. And one of the verifications of information in the source document is going to be the Constitution of the United States, which, by the way, you can get one of these at constitution.americanperspective.online. You can get one of these guys and stick it in the stocking of your favorite conservatives who would love it, or your not so favorite liberal leftist lunatics in your family, and they will not like it at all. You can do that for a wonderful price, and believe me, this thing is great. I'll tell you about it probably here in a little bit, but let's go to Article 2, Section 2. Article 2, of course, is where the president is defined, but Section 2 is where it talks about the powers of the president, or starts talking about the powers. And in the very first paragraph, okay, in the very first paragraph, at the very last sentence, it says, "He shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment." Now, here's the problem. First of all, okay, that's the only mention of the power, all right? But I have a feeling that if somebody really wanted to challenge this, so for an example, okay, if we're talking about Hunter Biden in particular, okay, if you read that sentence, "He shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment," I have a feeling that somebody could make the argument that you have to have offended the United States in order to get the pardon. So I'm kind of interested to see if somebody has the legal cojones, let's say, to go ahead and challenge this blanket pardon on Hunter Biden. Because, let's face it, the only charges that Hunter Biden has had up till now has been the gun charge and the tax evasion charges. So I'm wondering if somebody might have the chutzpah, and believe me, it'll probably go all the way up to the United States Supreme Court. But I would hazard a guess that there would be a viable argument. Now, whether or not it would actually clear that the Supreme Court, I don't know. But there would be a viable argument that could be made that you can't pardon somebody who hasn't been charged with an offense against the United States yet. That you just can't blanket pardon somebody like Joe Biden has done because he hasn't been charged with any kind of an offense as of yet for things like FARA violations. That would be a absolute interesting and fascinating utilization of the English language in order to try and get the Supreme Court to basically say, hey, look, you can't be pardoned for something that you haven't been charged with. I mean, because that's kind of what they're using this for, is like a get out of jail free card. Like, oh, I haven't been charged with anything, but anything and everything that I've been doing since 2014 all the way up until today is basically, I'm off scot-free. I wonder if anybody has had the audacity to even ask that question. Maybe I'm the first one. I don't know. But that seems to me like it would tell you that he has to actually be charged with an offense against the United States in order to be pardoned with it. Or pardoned from it. Oh, that'd be kind of interesting. I wonder if there's somebody that could maybe reach out to like Trump's lawyers or something. But along the lines of what they were dealing here with Joe Biden possibly pardoning Jack Smith, there's another gentleman, Mr. I don't know what a fire alarm looks like in comparison to a door open button in Congress. Yeah, that's right. Jamal Bowman here in Red State. he's now suggesting that President Biden should pardon everybody who's on death row. I mean, hey, why not? I mean, we're going to extend or stretch the power as much as possible because that's what Democrats do. They always are looking for, that's part of what Jack Smith was doing. I mean, Jackass Smith was like trying to bend the law, stretch the law, make it fit, do a certain thing. And so why not? Why not? Let's just pardon everybody. I mean, you know what? Let's just go ahead and pardon people who have never done anything in their lives for their entire life, so that if by chance they get charged with something, they will automatically have a get out of jail free card. I mean, these people, I just can't. He was telling a CNN panel on Monday that President Joe Biden must use his pardon power on every single death row inmate in the country. Yeah. Now, he originally surprised the anchor Abby Phillip by referring to the prosecution of Hunter Biden as a witch hunt, which we all know is not the case because of the fact that, even David Weiss is like, yeah, we didn't single him out to prosecute him, So anyway, God, these people are just, they are hilarious. Well, I'm not the only one that's actually questioning the abuse of this power. And I'm not the only one, because there is a gentleman here, according to Daily Caller, and what's even better off is that he is a Democrat representative. He's a Democrat representative. And he is suggesting, rightfully so, I think, but he is suggesting that it's time to revisit the pardon power following the Biden clemency gift to Hunter. This Democrat representative, Jerry Connolly of Virginia, said that the pardon of Hunter Biden was a reason to revisit the power of the president to grant clemency on Monday. President Joe Biden announced that he was pardoning Hunter in the statement, claiming that his son had been singled out, alleging that political opponents sought to break both him and his son by pursuing charges. Connolly accused the Republicans of vigilante justice on probing into Hunter Biden's business dealings, but then he called for a constitutional change. And this is what he says. He says, I have a mixed response. As a father myself, and as someone who knows Joe Biden, I can sympathize with his perspective that his son was, subject to vigilante justice. And he's talking to Jim Acosta, by the way, of CNN. He continues and says, I certainly witnessed that in Republican depositions of Hunter Biden and his attorney. But having said that, what other father in America has the power to pardon his son or daughter if they're convicted of a crime? Okay, so here's the thing. If the president has just blanket authority power to essentially say, all right, you haven't done anything, you haven't been accused of anything, I always took that or interpreted that to where you would have to be charged with something before the president could even pardon you. And that's what the Constitution seems to be saying, is that it's for offenses against the United States. But that's it. It doesn't say he has pardon power to pardon anyone who is doing it today, or possibly would do it tomorrow, or potentially would do it, 3 times next week. There's nothing there. It says that you have to have, he has pardon power against offenses, or to pardon offenses against the United States. So somebody somewhere, please, who has much more legal chops than I do, necessarily, let's look into this, because I have a feeling that Joe Biden's pardoning of Hunter Biden for anything for that 10-year period might be extending way beyond what the pardon power was intended to be for. Now, it would be different, honestly, if Joe had just pardoned him for the offenses that Hunter is charged with. Okay? That would make sense. A common and reasonable individual would go ahead, and that would make sense. I mean, yeah, I'm being charged. You're being charged with those things, so sure, we're just going to pardon you for that. So, he does continue. This gentleman, what was his name? Oh yeah, Connolly, Jerry Connolly of Virginia, does continue, and he says, "I really think we have to revisit the pardon power in the Constitution at the very least. I think we've got to circumscribe it so that you don't get to pardon relatives, even if you're passionately, even if you believe passionately they're innocent or that their cause is just." Now, remember, I played that video of Adam Schiff back in 2018 talking about just this exact same thing, like revisiting the pardon power. At the time, it was because Donald Trump had been pardoning people. But here, this is the thing. Again, I have a feeling. Oh, and Connolly continues and just says, well, we just saw Donald Trump not only pardon in his previous administration, his son-in-law's father, but now he's going to appoint that son-in-law's father to the ambassador to France. And he says, this is an abuse of power, and I think it needs to be corrected. So, that's kind of interesting. Let me read that again, because to me, I mean, I consider myself pretty high on the reading comprehension skill set, and especially dealing with stuff like this. So I just gotta, I'm sorry, I'm just going to reread this really, really quick. Again, that's Article 2, Section 2, first paragraph, very last sentence, because it's the very last after the comma. He shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. So, that would indicate that he only has the power if there is an offense against the United States. So in this particular case, then, I'm kind of wondering, I'm asking this question, and I think I'm onto something here. He can't pardon for just anything. You have to actually be charged with something in order to be pardoned. I wonder where I can go to explore that a little bit. Now, what's even further interesting is the fact that his 3 felony gun charges, by the way, occurred during a connection with a 2018 purchase of a Colt 38 caliber revolver during the time he was addicted to illegal drugs. So 2018, I think, was the first one for the gun charges, but then I think he was missing something like 2016, 2017, 2018 taxes and tax evasions. That's kind of an interesting question because, I'm just wondering about that. 3 Chevy says I should ask Dershowitz on his channel. All right, I'll look into that because I do honestly believe that, and Jonathan Turley, I think, would be probably the two that I would like to bounce the idea off of. But anyway, so yeah, it's kind of interesting. Sorry, had to take a quick drink. All right. So, continuing on with that, there, I believe, was a thought process. By the way, I'm also being told now, who is this Mike Davis? Mike Davis. Help me out with that, Bonnie. Anyway, there was a suggestion at one point that maybe with this pardoning, that it would pretty much end all of the deep dives, all of the investigations, all of the exploratory solutions or whatever. And there was even some suggestion that, hey, now that Hunter Biden's been pardoned, he no longer has Fifth Amendment rights, to where he can't say that he can't answer because he would incriminate himself, because he's already been pardoned for whatever crime that he might be, accused of or whatever. However, there is a possibility here that this is not going to stop any of the searches, the investigations, the probes, let's say, involved with Hunter Biden. And that's because of the fact that here in the Daily Wire, they got a hold of something where it basically says that John Thune, who is suggested or has been elected, I guess, for the Senate Majority Leader to serve in January when the new Congress is sworn in, he apparently signaled on Monday that Congress will continue investigating the corruption into the Hunter Biden family after President Joe Biden pardoned Hunter this week. So Thune said in an exclusive statement to the Daily Wire, President Biden repeatedly lied to the American people. His full and unconditional pardon for his son, which covers time when President Biden was a private citizen, raises further questions about the extent of Hunter Biden's crime. And, so this pardon, he continues, and the repeated lies the president and his administration told about it will be a shameful bookend to President Biden's tenure in office, and I would be supportive of Congress continuing to look into allegations of corrupt behavior. Thune's statement comes after President Biden granted a full and unconditional pardon for his son in all crimes he has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period of January 1, 2014 through December 1, 2024. So, yeah. See, and you can see just by that phrasing, he has committed or may have committed. See, that's the part that I think is off. I think it's, again, when you read the actual text and you look at it from a contextual standpoint, you almost have to be charged first before you can be pardoned for a crime. You can't just blanket charge somebody, I think. And so, yeah, this is going to be kind of interesting. I think we're getting into, unexpectedly, we're getting into constitutional questions from the left on this. So, yeah, this is kind of curious. I'm just going to ask the question. I think I'm going to go down that path, and I'll let you guys know if I run across anything in particular. I'm going to try and see. I'm going to investigate and try and see if I can hit up Alan Dershowitz, Jonathan Turley, and apparently this individual here. What is it? I lost his name already. Mike Davis and the Article 3 project. I'll take a look at both those. I'll look all those up. So anyway. Well, the left, of course, has serious intelligence problems. I mean, let's be honest here. They really have some serious intelligence problems. And, yeah. Well, Sunny Hostin on The View, who, she's reportedly a lawyer. She's reportedly the lawyer. Senior legal analyst for ABC or whatever, senior legal analyst. Yeah, anyway, apparently this is, I don't know, number 5, I suppose. I have no idea. Anyway, According to the Daily Fetch, The View co-host Sunny Hostin is forced to read yet another embarrassing legal correction. So, the ABC's View was forced yet again to issue another legal note regarding the panel's recent comments about President-elect Donald Trump's nominee for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Well, let's just take a listen to what she has to say.
I see you. I see you over there.
I have a very quick statement.
It's not going to be that quick.
Pete Hegseth has denied any wrongdoing. His lawyer said he paid the woman in 2023 to head off the threat of a baseless lawsuit. No charges were ever brought.
You rushed me for that? We'll be right back.
Can you just look at the women on The View? I gotta back up. I can see if I can back this up. There's a spot where they're. Let's go back. Right. Okay. Look at this. Look at them. I mean, I know it's kind of hard. It's a little grainy. I get it. But look at their faces. They're just freaking. I mean, you almost want to look at them and say, "Hey, ladies, if you'd stop saying stupid, unfounded crap, you wouldn't have to go through this." Especially Sunny Hostin. Oh my gosh, she could look any less. Oh, wait a minute, I gotta back this up. So here, I mean, look at this. This is Whoopi Goldberg. She's just kind of like, she's over with this. I don't know what she's doing, but take a look at Sunny Hostin right here. You can tell that she's looking into the camera. You know she's reading from the teleprompter on that entire thing. Oh, sorry, Tommy. Tommy says, ladies, don't insult women. I'm sorry. Anyway, but if you look at Sunny Hostin, she is like trying really, really hard to be as expressionless as possible. But in doing so, she looks like she's saying to herself in her head, I have to read this shit again because I'm such a moron. Well, I mean, that's probably not what she's saying, but that is the truth. Oh my gosh. I don't know I don't know how anybody could actually watch them. Yeah, they're kind of like I mean, I just don't understand it. It just doesn't make any sense. Oh, Mrs. Whiskey yelling in the background. I don't know if you can hear anything, but she's saying something.
They're not real women.
Yeah, she said they're not real women. Anyway, I can't even imagine how she even became a legal analyst either.
Oh, I
mean, I can't even imagine how she became a legal analyst, not knowing that some of the crap that spews out of her pie hole is, gonna get retracted anyway. Oh God, these people! Anyway. Sorry. Okay, that's my laughter for the night. No, I'm probably gonna laugh again, but that's definitely my laughter for the night, or at least the start of the laughter. Oh, I forgot about these. Okay, I digress. So let's move from the stupid people on The View. Okay. Let's move from the stupid people on The View to even more stupid people. I swear. This is why I call them morons. So here in Breitbart, apparently now, and I can't even imagine these doctors are actually going through this, but look at this headline. Liberal women are undergoing sterilization and blaming Trump. I mean, yeah, that's gonna teach him. I'm gonna sterilize myself, and that's all because of Trump. this is kind of like the whole shaving your head, wearing a blue band, abstaining from sex. Let's see, what other kind of idiotic things have they been doing here recently? Basically say, I mean, seriously, folks, all this is a win for conservatives. First of all, conservatives, I'm just going to tell you, conservatives are like out populating, let's say, the average religious conservative family has somewhere like around 3 to maybe 4 offspring. Okay, that's well above the national average of like 1.5 or 1.3 children per family. So, and they're actually the ones that are kind of like increasing this. So, no offense, but keep doing it. Pretty soon, we're not going to have any more morons. You guys are sterilizing yourselves, and you're making it so that you don't have offspring, which means that you're automatically, just by your very nature, streamlining the gene pool. I mean, this is almost as good as the Darwin Awards. Speaking about that, I wonder if somebody could put this one in for the Darwin Awards. Oh my gosh, how stupid! This is ridiculous. I don't even understand why anybody could. Anyway, so in an interview with Newsweek, just to kind of read a little bit from the from the piece here in Breitbart. In interviews with Newsweek, the women, including, now get this, there's an OnlyFans model that is doing this, said that they are afraid of their reproductive rights being taken away once Trump becomes president again. Trump has repeatedly said, by the way, that he believes abortion is a state issue, although his left-wing opponents have baselessly claimed that he will ban abortion nationwide. He literally came out and said, I am not going to sign something like that because that's not the federal government's job, which, by the way, it's not. Hello, I've been telling you this for I don't know how long. I mean, seriously. Anyway, Eden, what is it? Eden, Bora? God, this is horrible. This is horrible. Okay, it's Ixora, so I have no idea how to pronounce that. She's 25, of Florida, and reportedly creates content for OnlyFans. So, again, for those of you that are not familiar with OnlyFans, one of the things that OnlyFans does is it is basically a de facto porn site. That's not what it's for, but that's what it's turned into. It was originally... oh, thank you, 3 Chevy. Izora. Anyway, it was originally, a setup for subscription-based content. So, for an example, if I wanted to put a bunch of videos up there, and I wanted to charge you guys to go and watch these videos, then, which, by the way, is something that I'm really trying hard not to get into, but not OnlyFans. Trust me, you guys don't want to see this. Anyway, moving on. The whole point of it is subscription-based services. Well, what ended up happening is a lot of these women were going and doing like strip teases and sexual acts and things like that for a pay-only model. And so it just, so here she says that the idea of getting pregnant is worse than death. She told the outlet that she is making plans to have a bilateral, oh God, this is a medical term. I'm not even going to try. But it's a procedure basically to have both of her fallopian tubes removed. Whatever that procedure is called in medical terms. But anyway, she says, for me, it was a call to action. A need to get this locked in, so I don't have to live in fear that at any moment some random guy can completely destroy my life. You see, this is why. Ooh, I'll tell you what. I'm actually applauding these folks. Okay, there you go. I'm just going to applaud. Oh, wait a minute. I have a sound effect for that. So here, I'm just going to applaud these folks because. They're finally taking responsibility and being accountable for their lives and their actions. Let's face it, most liberal lunatic leftists don't really, I mean, half of them are living in the basement with their mothers, at least the guys are. I don't know about the girls, or the ladies, the women, whatever they are. But yeah, it's just, I can't even imagine this. This would be difficult for anybody. But apparently there's another one here. Lydia Eccles, 28, of Texas, also told the outlet that she plans to have her fallopian tubes removed. And she stated that if I am to be denied any rights in the next 4 or more years, I will not give them up without a fight. Yeah, you are. You're going in to get your tubes taken off. I mean, seriously. Oh, God. You know, Trump's already making the world better, and he hasn't even stepped into office yet. Oh, he's at least making me laugh. Well, something that isn't a bit of a laugh, unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier in the program, I talked about the $1 billion, that's right, billion with a B, that Joe Biden has, Coco de Whiskey, they're saying removed. They're saying removed. They, like, completely removed. So I don't know if that's different than being tied. But anyway. So, yeah. Oh, my God. These people, I'm telling you, they're... Anyway, back to the program. I still can't believe this. I mean, first it was shaving their heads, then it was putting on blue bands, then it was saying they were going to abstain from sex, and now it's like, okay, whatever. There it is. See, Ms. T of Tex, she always comes, yeah. Anyway. I don't even understand it. It doesn't even make any sense. Like, there has been nothing in the entire time that Trump has been campaigning that has anything to do with anybody's right. The very existence or thought process that it's a right to go and kill your child for no other reason other than convenience, and yes, I'm talking about abortion, seems a little off-putting to me in the first place. But it's not even a right. It's a medical procedure. And, I don't know. They can't, this goes right along with all of those women who jump on X or the other social media outlets or whatever that they do. And they say, oh, my rights, I have less rights than a gun. Yeah, okay. I still am waiting for somebody to define for me, please, anyone who has made that statement, please define for me what rights a woman has that is either A, different from the rights that a man has, or B, different such that a inanimate object known as a weapon or a gun has more rights, because I promise you they don't, has more rights than a human being. Again, you guys wonder sometimes why I call them morons. This is exactly it. Case in point right here. Anyway. Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, that whole thing about the $1 billion that Biden promised the other countries for whatever reasons, in terms of going down and to Africa and like promising all this support and everything else. Well, the problem that a lot of people have, me included, is the fact that we have some hurricane victims that just went through a serious problem and only got $750 for their trouble in several cases. Some didn't even get that. And what's even worse is some didn't even get serviced because of things like having a Trump sign in their yard. Now, there was a lot of discussion about how, no, that's not happening, even though there were FEMA administrators or higher up managers or whatever those kinds of things, okay? They essentially bypassed. They said it. They talked about it. They admitted the fact that they were told to bypass these houses. Well, now we apparently have some video that is allegedly, and I'm going to say allegedly because I don't know who these people are, but now we have some video that is allegedly of a volunteer who walks to a house, and it was caught on a Ring camera, okay? And, well, here's what transpired. Take a listen.
Sorry. That's all right. I'm really conflicted. I have a lot more stuff to give, but I am not a fan of Donald Trump. So these signs are a problem for me. I'm going to have to think about it.
Okay, now the dog obviously was barking in the background, so it was kind of hard to hear. And then finally somebody put up some words, closed captioning in order to understand. But what this woman, for those on the audio portion of the program, this woman comes up and she apparently has what appears to be some sort of like cushion or blanket or something along those lines and a couple other things maybe in her hands. And she's going to hand it over to this other person who's got their face blurred out. And in the process, she says, the woman bringing the gifts, or the assistants, I should say, not gifts, but the assistants. She says, I'm sorry, or well, sorry, the lady with the dog barking says, I'm sorry. The woman says, that's all right, meaning about the dog barking. Then the dog keeps barking a little bit, and the homeowner tries to tell the dog to shush. Then the woman who is dropping off the assistant says, I'm really conflicted. Okay, I'm not exactly sure why at first. We don't know. She says, I'm really conflicted. She says, I have a lot more, meaning that she has a lot more stuff to hand over to this victim of the hurricane. Which one, I don't know. Maybe it's both. But then she continues on and says, stuff to give. I have a lot more stuff to give. But I am not a fan. And she points to and indicates the Trump signs and says, of Donald Trump. And then she continues on and says, so these signs, meaning the Donald Trump signs, are a problem for me. And then she says, so I'm going to have to think about it. So wait a minute. You're basically saying that you're not going to provide assistance that you brought. Admittedly, she admitted that she brought it there, that she had a lot more stuff there. But then she goes and she just kind of walks off and sort of says, doesn't really say necessarily goodbye, I don't think. She just sort of walks off and looking back over her shoulder, taking a look, probably trying to see if she crushed this hurricane victims, whatever. But, I mean, come on. Really? This is getting utterly ridiculous. And that individual, that individual who was handing out the stuff, she's a leftist. She's a leftist loon. Her name might even be Karen for all I know. But that's just crazy. Well, continuing on with some of the footage, by the way, this is in Woke Spy as well, but libs of TikTok responded to the original poster and said, basically said, disgusting. The original poster posted that this video is truly sad. A liberal volunteer showed up at a Hurricane Helene. Oh, there we go. Hurricane Helene's victim's house and said, I'm really conflicted, so on and so forth. They've never been tolerant and graceful at all, which they haven't. Gunther Eagleman said, disgusting. Lily Springs continued on and said, this woman is not giving from her heart. She has no compassion or kindness within her. What in an abundance of her heart, her mouth speaks volumes. She is trying to show her moral superiority, and it stinks to high heaven. Some other people pointed out politics should have no place in charitable offerings. That's why it's called charity. Another person said, so this nasty excuse of a human being doesn't want to help out her fellow neighbor, her fellow American, a fellow woman in need because of her Trump sign. Got it. They are all evil, mean, uncaring, and incapable of compassion. Yeah. And this, of course, followed on the whole thing about FEMA and how the FEMA folks were bypassing Trump locations. All right. Yeah, this is just, I mean, what a mess. What a mess. I can't even understand it. Trump broke them. That's what it is. Trump broke them in 2016. He's broken them again for 2024. They're going to stay broken until 2028, in which case the American people, provided everything goes the way that we all hope it does, that by the time 2028 rolls around, they will be broken forever. Maybe they'll come back. I don't know. But yeah. So one thing that Biden also is doing, he's not only screwing us up, meaning us in America. He's not only screwing us up, he's also screwing up, believe it or not, other things in the world. Not like he really, is not famous for doing this anyway. I mean, let's be honest. This guy, he never should have seen the inside of the Oval Office. Well, you know that Lebanese and Israeli ceasefire that I was telling you about a couple episodes ago, where they had a 60-day ceasefire worked out, where they would stop hostilities and so on and so forth. That was the whole point was to kind of stop the and this was agreed to by Hezbollah as well. Well, apparently that ceasefire almost got tanked by, and it may still collapse, by the way. It may still collapse by Joe Biden himself. Here in Breitbart, Lebanon ceasefire near collapse after Biden's intervention. Hezbollah fires, and now IDF vows a response. And so what the hell happened here? Well, the ceasefire in Lebanon is barely 5 days old at the time of this writing, which was yesterday, the 2nd. In its near collapse as of Monday, after Hezbollah fired rockets at Israel following this, a Biden-Harris administration erroneous claim that Israeli surveillance drones violated the agreement. I mean, wait, what? So, apparently, no international authority. Okay, wait a minute. I got to back up. So the IDF reported on Monday that 2 Hezbollah rockets had been fired at Har Dov, which is a mountain, a strategic mountain that Breitbart News visited last Thursday, in which Hezbollah claimed wrongly is Lebanese. So no international authority recognizes Hezbollah's claim, but the Iranian-backed terror group wants Israel to give up that mountain, which commands all of northern Israel below. Before Israel went on the offensive at the war, the Biden-Harris administration tried to convince Israel to comply with Hezbollah's demands and withdraw from Har Dov. Hezbollah's rocket fire followed the Biden-Harris administration claim that Israel had violated the ceasefire by flying surveillance drones over Beirut. Breitbart News noted earlier on Monday, nothing in the text of the ceasefire agreement actually prevents that. So, and the deal explicitly states that each side may engage in legitimate self-defense activity, which I would think flying a drone to see if you're being snuck up on, would be considered self-defense activity. Now, we all know that the Biden-Harris administration is against Israel. We all know this. Okay. But the Biden-Harris administration actually sided with France, which, has an anti-Israel posture, and regards Lebanon, which was a former French colony, as its own turf. And that sent a signal of weakness to Hezbollah and to Iran. Well, so Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in a statement, which this was translated from Hebrew by the government press office, he said, Hezbollah fire at Mount Dove constitutes a severe violation of the ceasefire, and Israel will respond forcefully. We are determined to continue enforcing the ceasefire and will respond to every Hezbollah violation, minor and major. The IDF Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi, said, we will respond decisively to Hezbollah's severe violation of the ceasefire and will continue to do so. We have plans and targets ready to be carried out at any given moment. Now, despite that little breakdown, the Pentagon is reportedly saying that the ceasefire agreement is still in effect. In an update in a statement Monday evening, the IDF did say that the Israeli Air Force struck Hezbollah terrorists, dozens of launchers, and terrorist infrastructure throughout Lebanon. Additionally, the IAF struck a Hezbollah launcher in the area of Burgos in southern Lebanon shortly after the launch of the two projectiles toward Mount Dove. So, yeah. We'll see if this thing actually makes it all the way through 60 days. I honestly, I don't know if that's going to happen. All right. Well, before I take off, I have a couple of birthday wishes. I know there's somebody's mother-in-law, but that's not the initial one that I was. Oh God, my chat is nuts. Wait a minute. Where's my thing here? Hold on. Where is it? I know it's in there. There we go. All right. There we go. My chat is nuts. Guaranteed. It's guaranteed. Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah. So, here's the thing. I have a special birthday. Oh, Coco DeWhiskey. It's her mama's birthday, so that's great. But Ms. T of Texas, Ms. T of Texas, also known as Tommy over on Facebook. It is her birthday today. So I'm going to end the show, of course, by saying and singing happy birthday to both of these wonderful ladies. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Tommy and Coco DeWhiskey's mom. Happy birthday to you. There you go. Birthday wishes. Go have fun, okay? Go have fun, as much fun as you can. Anyway, all right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you would, please head on over, and haven't already, by the way, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are there, make sure that you, as you are signed in, search out the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to make sure that you get notified every time I go live. Also, too, before you take off, make sure you hit all those thumbs up buttons and like buttons across all of my platforms, whether it is Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, or X, so that you can help me increase my exposure. I do appreciate it all. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Whiskey Wednesday tomorrow night. And, Yes, we will see. We will see you tomorrow night for that. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.
The previous broadcast was produced and is owned by Active Eye Media LLC. All rights reserved.